you guys. Is this thing on? Yes, perfect. So, okay, well, you guys can all read. So that's a question, but I sort of give you the answer. Yes, it's way more convenient without packaging, or at least that's what I honestly think about it. The intent of this presentation is not really to convince you that one day we will have no more packaging in software, but I'd like just to hear some opinions from you at the end of it. So please don't take any offense if I'm too strong with on my opinions. So first of all, some introduction. If you haven't guessed up to this point, I'm originally Italian, and I'm going to use my hands way more than the average. Stay focused on the images. I lived in Oslo for 3.5 years, and in December, just before Christmas, I moved back to Italy, and now I live in Milan. That's important not because I want to actually tell you something about my personal life, but because throughout the presentation, you will understand why I told you I recently moved back. I work as field engineer at Varnish Software. If you don't really know what we do, we are basically the company behind the open source web accelerator Varnish Cache. And we pay our bills selling proprietary software. What's important for you to know, again, for this presentation is that among the duties I have as field engineer, I'm deeply, deeply involved on support. So I'm the second line responsible, and if any of you is our customers or just try to send an email to any of us, there might be some sort of input from me, no matter what. And again, that's important. We're getting there. So as any good Italian, I'm going to try to explain you why packaging is bad using food. On your left, we have the worst possible scenario, and that's a taco. So I did tweet this, that's funny, and like 2 minutes later, I got a message from my Mexican colleague saying, that's not a taco. Like, a taco is actually as a soft shell, so that's really not a taco, and I was okay. I mean, please I'm sorry, if it's not a taco in Mexico, I'm sorry, but for Google, that's a taco. So, anyway, the taco scenario. So you basically have this taco, and you stuff it with meat, guacamole, cheese, sauce, anything you want to put in there. It's brilliant. It's a wonderful concept. You go for it, try to bite it, and then it just crashes in your hands. And you will have guacamole all over your arm in the best possible scenario. And that's the same for software packaging. Like 50–60% of the time, you think, OK, this is beautiful. I'm going to do it. And then everything crashes. And you really get into the frustration. The best possible scenario is the burrito. So burrito has a soft shell. And again, you put some meat, guacamole, cheese, sauce, anything you want. You can wrap it up, and you can actually have it. Bite after bite, you will get towards the end. Have you ever noticed that when you get to the end, the bottom of it is sort of soaked with cheese, sauce, or anything like that? And at some point, it will start leaking some sort of sauce or something like that. And again, the best possible scenario is that you're having it while walking. So either it will just drip on your pants or your shoes. Or the worst possible scenario is you're having it while sitting and you're wearing beige pants. That's not good. So in both scenarios, packaging is really not good. And I'm not saying I really like Mexican food, so please just take it as metaphor. So what's the solution here? And I'm going definitely to push it for my nation. Guys, we don't put pasta into packages. We use dishes. Like you are. We cook the pasta, and we just use a dish as a service, and we don't really care. So I think I can close my presentation here. So that's where we try to go. Basically, we just want the content, and we don't care what's going on around it. We just want to use a service. So that's the solution I'm going to propose. I think I got my point up till now. So if you strongly disagree, please raise your hands. Otherwise, I'll just move on with the presentation and try again to convince you why packaging is bad. So this very non-scientific graph, because if there is any mathematician here, I'm sure might strongly disagree with this part of the graph, represent my knowledge, my experience gain over time in software packaging. Since I've started university, I've started working, and then we reach this plateau, which is constant frustration because something is not working no matter what. The blue line is my any other packaging knowledge, okay? Obviously, something happened here. Can you guess what happened? Why did I gain all that experience in any other packaging scenario? I moved back to Italy, like a famous Swedish company with a yellow and blue logo, got a delivery at my place. So Ikea, I'm not sure if I can mention that, but Ikea delivers some furniture at my place. And this happened like a couple of weeks back, and I found it so ironic because I was preparing I was preparing this presentation, and I was, okay, this is definitely, that's funny. I need to give some sort of importance at Ikea, and so I started doing some researches. Like Ikea is probably one of the best industry, which is not software related, that really gave a lot of importance to packaging. So for example, I did those researches during the night because the internet is so great during the night. I'm not sure why. But Ikea was founded in 1956. And since then, they've been one of the greatest industry all over the world. So I strongly believe they have better packaging than furniture. Like, I'm sure that if I punch my wardrobe and I do punch the boxes where my wardrobe was put in, the boxes will survive, but the wardrobe won't. I'm not kidding. They have teams doing that for a living. Like, they basically have the package manager, which is, I'm not quite sure what a package manager does, but I found it extremely interesting to discover they saved something like 1.2 million in a single year because they understood how to break a sofa into 3 different pieces. And they saved something like 1 or 2 millimeters per box. And this led them to save 1.2 million in a single year. So they definitely give way more importance to packaging than any other thing, because that's money for them. It is actually great for the warehouse and for the way they do delivery. So it's absolutely something that IKEA understood packaging is the most important bit in their business. And I have to say that's great for their business or for their warehouse, but it's sort of very good for the end user as well. So now the end user is the average end user. I'm the average end user, okay? I don't build furniture every day. And I have to admit they have very good man pages. And if you follow them step by step, you will get to the end with no problem at all. But again, I'm really into the average, and I got overexcited, I have to say. So this picture, it's actually my hands. And the couch, I'm not sure, it's really not good quality because it's by my phone, but it's a personal experience, and I wanted to share it. And this picture over here, it's me getting at the end of my couch, and I found like 4 extra screws. And I sort of reached that level of frustration you get into when you do software packaging. And I was, oh my God, I gotta do this all over again. Like, I can't do this. I really hate everyone right now. I don't want to do this. And you sort of reach the same type of frustration when doing software packaging or when trying to install some package somewhere on your laptop. And the other problem is stereotypes everywhere, because that's a cartoon, that's a pizza box. And the other problem is, okay, I've used your packages, now I need to get rid of what I don't need anymore. I think those are, like, you can't really see, but there are way other packages within a package. So it's something like, this is probably something like 7, 8 kilos of packaging to get rid of. And I live at the third floor, and at some point I was, yeah, what could possibly go wrong if at 3 a.m. I just open the window and throw, and tomorrow morning I'll just get rid of those? Then I've actually thought of everything can go wrong in that situation, so I haven't done it yet. And I probably won't do it. But so the point is that Ikea is actually a different industry from the software industry. And they understood the importance of packaging and tried to make it very, very good for the end user as well. But the software industry is trying to do the same. It has to be easy for the release manager. I've heard my release manager yelling at his monitor more than once. And it has to be easy for the end user, because the end user doesn't really want to waste any time trying to install the packaging. I mean, we all just want to use the service, basically. That's all we're interested in. And what Ikea can't really get rid of packaging, because it wouldn't be optimal for them to deliver a couch and also 2, 3 people fixing the couch for you. For them, it's optimal to have a do-it-yourself concept. But in the software industry, we can actually get rid of packaging. And how do we do this? Like, in my everyday life, again, as I told you, I'm deeply involved on support duties, which basically means, okay, we obviously support more than a single operating system. And I run this beauty over here, which is beautiful, but obviously doesn't really support anything. So I need to use any sort of virtualization, Docker, whatever you want to use. And on my everyday life on support, it often happens that I need to install this version, and then I need to try to upgrade. No, wait, but then the customer has installed this other dependency and downloaded this library, and it got into this dependency situation which can't solve anymore. And this is usually what I try to do during my everyday life. And the solution, and what I'd really like to see in the software industry, is way more Docker, container, virtualization, whatever you can think of, because we don't really want to install packages anymore. So what I do is I personally love Docker. And I have a few Docker files. And I possibly spend, I don't know, 1, 2 days, once in a while, trying to write down my Docker file. And then the work is done. I don't really need to try to spin up a virtual machine, install the front package, try to reproduce that scenario, and so on and so forth. So ideally, at some point in time, the software industry, and it's probably happening right now, the software industry will move towards a direction where packaging is no more important. And I think we are at the point where we sort of understood that it is a waste of time for most people. And again, ideally, it would be great if you could build software from the source code. But there is something we need to solve. For example, we sell software for a living, and we can't just give access to the source code to everyone out there, because otherwise we wouldn't have possibly an income. So the aim of this presentation was actually to make you think how we could improve a package-free scenario for the next few years. And I'd really like to know if you have strong opinions, feelings, or anything. I'd like to wrap up the presentation. I did, while preparing this presentation, I did some researches, of course, and I have 4 + 1, which I haven't written down because it goes against the conduct of the conference. So the first one is Wikipedia has the dependency hell page. That's for real. Google it. It exists. So we know we have a problem. Like, okay? At Varnish Software, we brew and package our own beer. And I know that's super startup mindset. And I have to say, it is actually very good. And the reason for this, it is Varnish Software at the Oslo office of Varnish Software. In Norway, alcohol is under the state monopoly, and it is incredibly expensive. It's actually cheaper just to produce it. And we do it, and we do it as a fun event of the Friday afternoon. Bubble wrap was originally intended to be used as wallpaper. That's true. And actually, a new place in Italy, it gave me a good idea, and I'm considering having some sort of bubble wrap on one of my walls, and I'm going to call it the frustration wall. So instead of punching my Ikea wardrobe, I will just punch the bubble wrap wall. Pizza boxes are, at least in Italy, always red, white, and green, just like the Italian flag. So I've been living in Italy 22 years straight. Then I moved to Norway, and I realized this just during the last month. So I'm a little bit slow on this. It took me something like 26 years of my life to get to this conclusion. And the fifth point is never, ever, ever Google for bad packaging and check out images while you are in a meeting with other people sitting next to you. So guys, thank you for listening.